What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. For today's discussion video, we're going to be breaking down, we're going to be discussing, and I'm going to be giving you guys some of my initial thoughts on the most recent Transformers fan stream, where they gave us our first official look at the next wave of Transformers Studio Series figures, which do include some upcoming Rise of the Beast characters, which I'm so excited to get into. And towards the end of the stream, they also briefly teased the characters we can expect from the next wave of Transformers Legacy Evolution. So let's get into it. Some of the news we already knew about, but this time we have some proper official high-res images to go off by. So first up, we have Dark the Moon Core Class Bumblebee. Now, we knew this guy was coming, especially when we saw Pink Laserbeak last year. Personally, I really liked that figure, but to see it this time round with a new head sculpt, which I don't think any of us saw coming, this will come with the Battle Mask head sculpt, and in the traditional Bumblebee color scheme, I do think it looks a lot better. And to be honest with you guys, I hope they continue giving us Bayverse characters in the core class. You know, I'd love to see a proper Dark the Moon, maybe Revenge of the Fallen version of Optimus Prime in this scale. It would just throw me back to the old Revenge of the Fallen / Dark the Moon days. I think it was Transformers 3 where we had that whole Cyberverse line of so many different Legends / core scale figures. So yeah, that'd be sick. But yeah, I think this Bumblebee's going to be a pickup. He does transform into an officially licensed Camaro. So yeah, that looks great, but definitely glad to see a new head sculpt. Kind of hoping they were going to throw in the unmasked head as well, but considering it's a core class, they're already kind of stingy. But now we get into the big league characters. So we're jumping straight into Deluxe class, and it's about time we saw our next 1986 character, because bang, we have here a Deluxe class Brawn. Now, personally, I've been so excited to see the official reveal for this character. He's one of my favorite G1 character designs. Up until this point, I don't think we've ever seen a proper Deluxe version of this character in the line, and for the most part, I think he looks really awesome. Do you know what? In terms of the color, I think they've got it near enough bang on. You know, they did make a specific point about the shade of green. I think it looks very accurate to the movie. He was killed off very quickly, and they also made specific mention that no matter how little screen time a character had in that 1986 movie, they will eventually get to them. So that does open up an entire Pandora's box of variants, retools, repaints that we can expect to see, especially from the likes of the Junkion. So yeah, very exciting things coming up. You know, this guy does look sick. I like how they managed to get that kind of towering back kibble over the top of his head. That looks insane. And bang, here we have an image of the truck mode, which looks solid. You know what? These Studio Series 86 figures, besides Blur, haven't been disappointing whatsoever. So yeah, definitely excited to check this guy out. And he is a mini bot, so he's going to be slightly smaller in terms of Deluxe scale. And I do like how they are now finally painting the windows in that kind of cel-shaded light blue color like we saw from the buzzworthy Bumblebee Cliff Jumper. It seems like this is what we're going to be seeing from the 86 line going forward. I think the marketer made a specific mention of that. So good to see kind of transparent plastic phased out of some of these kind of cartoon characters. But then we jump into War for Cybertron. So the Gamer Edition line was the big talking point about Studio Series this year. It's a big new entry, and they also mentioned that the reason why they launched this line is because we're going to be getting some Transformers reactive characters / figures coming in the line later this year. So that's going to be really exciting. But the reveal we saw for War for Cybertron is a Deluxe class Cliff Jumper. Now, we knew this guy was coming from all of the various different leaks and listings, and you know what? If you have a Bumblebee, you're always going to get a Cliff Jumper repaint from it. It looks pretty cool. Now, I do believe this guy is more from Fall of Cybertron than he is in War for Cybertron. I know he was in the Nintendo game, I think. He was definitely in one of the games for War for Cybertron as well, but I definitely remember him making kind of his big appearance in Fall of Cybertron. The head sculpt does look sick, but other than that, he is just a basic repaint of Bumblebee. So if you don't like that mold, then I don't think there's really too much new here for you guys to really pick this up. I mean, it would have been insane had they included a few extra accessories, you know, a few different rifles, a few different weapons, considering we go through an entire arsenal in that War for Cybertron / Fall of Cybertron game. But it is what it is. Here is an image of the vehicle mode, which looks nuts. You know, I really do like this mold of Bumblebee. So cool to see it redecoed into Cliff Jumper. But now we get stuck into the Voyager class figures. Now, we did recently discuss these over on the channel, but they were all very blurry images. You know, these two in particular, which we're going to be talking about next, we basically just got shots of them from the back of the box. Well, now we have some high-res images, and we're kicking things off big with the War for Cybertron Voyager class Megatron. Now, I don't know about you guys, but going into this year, this was one of the characters that I was the most excited to see, because, you know, those War for Cybertron games are just insane, but Megatron's design in particular, I think think is just so badass. You know, it's probably one of the most badass Megatron designs of all time. The original Deluxe figure was good, but I definitely think it is the weakest out of that original 2010 assortment. So to see this as a Voyager, I do think it looks pretty nice. Now, one thing you couldn't tell from the back of the box image, which we recently discussed, would be the size of the fusion cannon. I will say it does seem to be on the slightly smaller side, and I think that's due to his gimmick, because you can still remove the right forearm and the fusion cannon can be pegged on, which looks ridiculous. I mean, I understand as to why they've implemented it. It's because this whole line has an ongoing gimmick of swapping out right arms with different weapons, etc. But do you know what? They should have made that fusion cannon way bigger than it actually is. But he does include the Energon mace. Love that it's got all of those kind of spike pieces sticking out of it. We get an image of the tank mode. Unfortunately, it's not looking likely that those treads are going to be able to kind of flip up. So it does just seem that this is going to be the hover tank and not the actual tank which you can roll along the ground, which is a bit of a shame because that was a feature that we saw in the 2010 Deluxe. Considering this is a Voyager, I was hoping they would carry that aspect over, but you know what, maybe they just didn't touch base on it. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But as you guys all know, I am a live action movie fan to my core, so to finally see some actual high-res images of the upcoming Rhinox made me super pumped. So here we have an image of him in the robot mode, and correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the best look we've seen officially for how Rhinox should look in the upcoming movie? I think it is, and you know what, I'm digging the design. Personally, I think all of the Rhinox figures which we've checked out so far have been pretty good. Even the movie line version wasn't bad, but this just takes things to a whole other level, because the second I saw this guy, immediately I was like, wow, they've literally taken one of those Transformers The Last Night designs and slapped it into Rise of the Beast. But a very nice design, you know, decent amount of paint. He does appear to be very grey, but I think that's just the colour scheme of the Rhino in the movie, and you can see lots of metallic silver dry brushing, especially on the armour of the shoulders and on the forearms. That'll look sick, and I love that kind of meat hammer that he's got in the hand. I mean, as I said, when we took a look at some of the in-package shots, I cannot wait to see Rhinox kind of swinging that bad boy around on the battlefield, literally taking out the Terracons, taking out Scorponok. It's going to be sick. And you can't really tell too much from the official images, but they will be getting rid of the Rhino head on the back, so it will be able to store away within the chest, much like we saw from the Studio Series Cheetor. I'm expecting an incredibly unique transformation for this guy, because for the most part, you know, between the Kingdom version and the movie line Rhinox, their conversions were kind of similar. So yeah, this is going to be an experience, and love the way the robot mode looks, you know, incredibly articulated. And then here we have an image of him maximized into his Rhino mode, and yeah, this hands down destroys the movie line version. I mean, just check out the proportions. Way more curvy, way more armored in comparison to that original figure. I just think this looks nuts. I mean, look at the way they were able to kind of get that rhinoceros belly. It just looks so cool. Not the biggest fan of the brown legs, but you know, who knows, maybe this is accurate to the movie. And one thing I am noticing is the lack of any sculpted in chains to this guy. That was something we have seen on the CGI design, so it is a little bit of a shame to see it missing here from the SS version, but that is such a nice head sculpt, and the eyes are painted, which is really awesome. And he won't be a brick. There will be quite a bit of articulation that you can get out of the shoulders and the back legs, so that's pretty cool. But we haven't even scratched the surface in terms of big name drops, because I think the next reveal might just be one of my favourites out of the entire live stream, and it is our proper official look at the upcoming Rise of the Beast Voyager class Optimus Prime. He looks insane. Now, we went into quite a bit of detail this time last week when we saw proper in-hand images of the robot mode. I believe it was shown off at some kind of festival. Looked nuts, but this time round we get confirmation that the Energon blade will be able to slide into the forearm, 2007 Michael Bay Prime style, so that's sick. And they also mentioned that in terms of retooling, the only thing which is borrowed from the Bumblebee movie version would be the windscreen and the wheels. Besides that, he is completely brand new. So really looking forward to seeing as to how his transformation is going to play out. You know, as I said in my previous video of this figure, I think this is looking to be one of the best Studio Series Optimus Primes of all time. So pumped to get this guy into the collection. Although I will say the smokestacks do appear to be on the slightly larger side. You know, had they just shrunken them down a little bit, I think that would have looked better, especially when we flip over to the truck mode. They even seem a little bit too big here for that, but nuts looking truck mode. I mean, I love the way the bull bar kind of integrates into this version. It appears to be a separate sculpt when in comparison to what we saw from the movie line version, so it really does stick out, and that is the biggest distinguishable difference between this version of Prime and the version that we saw in Bumblebee between the truck mode. So yeah, that looks nuts. A little bit of kibble on the back of the truck, but you know what, that's to be expected. So cannot wait to get this guy. It does just suck that he will be a buzzworthy Bumblebee exclusive. I mean, why would you make this character an exclusive? I mean, surely you'd give an exclusive to the likes of Cliffjumper, or straight up repaint for the most part with a brand new head sculpt. But yeah, he's going to be an exclusive, which does just suck ass, but really cool looking figure, not going to lie. And then they jumped into their next Amazon exclusive subline, which is all going to be based on IDW. Personally, I think this is one of the best ideas they've had for an exclusive collector's set in so long, because, do you know, the most recent one we checked out, that being the War Dawn 2-pack, wasn't too great, and the whole Amazon Wrecker line last year was okay, but it was mainly just repaints. We have here our first look at Minor Megatron and Senator Ratbat, and I think this is probably the most unique 2-pack we've seen for a very long time. You know, it's the first one that I've seen and been like, wow, they're actually going to be doing this, and yeah, they look really cool. So Minor Megatron is based on that Siege Megatron mold, which they have reused so many times, but I'm kind of thinking they're going to put it to bed after this use. And yeah, he looks cool, you know, brand new head sculpt, new shoulders, new chest. He does come with the pickaxe as well as the drill piece, so that's cool, but I don't even think he's the most interesting out of the two, because as we check out Senator Ratbat, he looks pretty sick, and this is a character which I never in a million years would have guessed they would have given an official release to. So he is a Studio Series Scourge retool, awesome looking head, brand new chest, appears to be the same as Scourge besides those two pieces, but yeah, looks nuts. And here we have some images of them in their vehicle mode. So Ratbat transforms into that weird spaceship boat looking thing, and as you can see from Minor Megatron, it looks like they made the best out of a bad situation, because, you know, this mold is just not designed to incorporate some of those new accessories. So we have the pickaxe just kind of hanging off the side of the tank, and the drill bit doesn't quite integrate too well. I mean, it does the job. Personally, I'm only going to stick Megatron in his robot mode, so it's not the end of the world. But this isn't even the most intriguing 2-pack, because then they also gave us a first look at the next one, which will be a Senator Shockwave and a Data Clerk Orion packs. Now, there were a few rumors going around within the last 24 hours that we were going to be seeing a Senator Shockwave, and I tell you guys, when I saw this as the reveal, I was like, what on earth? You know, we're all very used to Shockwave looking a very specific way. This just chucks that straight out of the window. I mean, damn, look at it, guys. It is completely different. You know what? It looks more like Ultra Magnus, but I guess it's IDW comic book accurate. Honestly, I'm not personally too familiar with these incarnations of the characters. All I can do is appreciate the figures, and I will say, great reuse of that Siege Tetrajet mold. You know, they have retooled quite a lot. The backpack seems to be brand new chest, new forearms, and brand new head sculpt. The color scheme is definitely interesting, but that Orion Pax is really cool, because I believe he uses the Siege Hound as a basis, but yeah, they've really turned that one on its head. I think that looks really awesome. It will be quite cool to compare this Orion Pax to the version that we saw released last year as part of the A Hero is Born set. So yeah, really looking forward to these. I wonder as to what other characters they're going to bring out from this subline. Would love to see, do you know, what they do with a leader class, but then we jump straight into some of the pipeline reveals. So, as we all know, for core class, the next one is going to be Snarl. He'll complete Volcanicus, and don't you guys worry, I will have reviews going up for Scar and Swoop very shortly over on the channel, so be sure to stay tuned to that. And then we get stuck into some of the deluxes. So they confirmed that we will be getting our third kind of original Insecticon in the next wave, that being Bombshell. Very excited to see how this one plays out. I'm thinking it's probably going to be a retool of maybe Shrapnel. I can definitely see them using the legs from Shrapnel and maybe just changing the arms a little bit, and of course the head sculpt, because that is what really does make Bombshell Bombshell. And then we got name drops for some very interesting characters. So they confirmed that the strong arm we're going to be seeing is based on RID, which I think is insane. You know, that is the 2015 show. Unfortunately, it didn't have the best figure line, but awesome character design. You know, I think Strongarm was probably the best character to come out of that entire series as it was. So yeah, really excited to see what they're going to do in terms of a legacy version of her. And then they're going to be giving us a Detrius. I still have no idea whatsoever how to pronounce that. I guess I better get ready for his review, but I do think this is probably going to use that leaked Studio Series 86 Hound Earth mode Jeep as a base, because I don't think they'd really go back to the Siege mold for this. Do you know, I'm looking forward to seeing as to how it turns out, not going to lie. And then another big character drop would be a Cyberverse Shadow Striker. Now, we knew Shadow Striker was going to be coming. We didn't quite know what incarnation they were going to be basing this on, but yeah, it will be Cyberverse. And personally, I think I'm looking forward to this one more than I'm looking forward to the Strong Arm, just because I think her design is so awesome. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing as to what they come up with for that. And then we get stuck into the Voyagers, which, you know, they're okay in terms of character names. We all kind of knew they were coming. So the first one is a Bludgeon. Now, judging from some of the most recent leaks we've seen, it looks as if though this may just come with a new sword and a new head sculpt and be just a heavy reuse of the Tarn mold, which is amazing, but I was kind of hoping for something a little more original from Bludgeon. Again, I'll have to reserve my judgment for when we get official finalized images of the actual figure. And then we got a slight tease of what the next Junkion will be called, and it is a Voyager, the first Junkion Voyager that we're going to be seeing for Legacy, and that is Trash Master. So that pretty much confirms that that leaked prototype we saw will transform into some kind of a dump truck. I am hoping that maybe we could see an animated Wreck-Gar retool out of that in the future. That'd be really awesome, and I definitely think that is something they would do, especially as they will be delving more into Transformers Animated next year with, I believe, an Optimus Prime, and I think there were also some rumours of a Bumblebee. And then they gave us a tease for the leader class, which also was a character which we knew was coming, that being Transformers Prime Dreadwing. This is more than likely just going to be a straight up repaint of Skyquake, which was an excellent leader, probably one of the best leaders that I think we've seen from Legacy so far. You know, I haven't checked out Armada Megatron just yet, but that wraps up this fan stream. So amazing Studio Series reveals. You know, it's so awesome to see an entire stream dedicated to Studio Series, as 9 times out of 10 they're either leaked and they never get revealed, or they're just basically put up on a social media post and we don't really get any proper big announcement for them. So very much excited for the likes of Megatron, of course that Optimus Prime and the Rhinox, and some of the characters they tease for the next wave of Legacy do appear to be pretty interesting. So you guys let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below in regards to both the pipeline reveals as well as the official Studio Series reveals, and not to mention, also let me know what you think of the next Amazon exclusive subline. I thank you guys all so much for watching, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.